Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of new polling data to share with you guys in regard to Donald Trump, birthright citizenship. I also have a poll on the race in Ohio, healthcare, the Epstein files, a whole bunch of good stuff. And spoiler alert, Donald Trump hit another new low for his second term, which that's where I'm going to start today. So last Thursday, the Associated Press published the results of their latest NORC poll, and they found that Donald Trump's approval rating is at 31% on the economy. Take a look at this. 67% disapproval. So this is a 9% drop since March of this year. And he's even losing support among Republican voters on this very issue. So take a look at this chart. So you can see here, they break it down by overall support, Republican and Democrat, and he has dropped 9% with registered Republicans. He has dropped also 9% with independents, they said. And then Trump's also losing voters on the subject of immigration, which I've shared with you many, many times, as you guys know. So take a look at this. He has dropped 8% even with Republican voters on the issue of immigration. He went from 88% to 80%. That's since March. And then he has lost 11% with independents, as you can see here, from 49% down to, or excuse me, that's overall, I should say. So not independents, but 49 to 38% overall. And then he's even dropped 12% with Democrats, which is very odd that 18% of Democrats supported him on immigration in March of this year. But anyway, Trump's overall approval rating is not much better. So take a look at this. As you guys can see here, only 36% of overall voters in this poll approve of his job performance, and then 61% disapprove. Just absolutely pathetic. And look at how bad he's doing with independents. I mean, this is just, it's unwinnable. You cannot win elections like this. Only 20% of independents approve of the job Donald Trump is doing. 74% disapprove. You cannot win. That is not going to get you election victories in the midterms. And then check this out, you guys. So a progressive think tank, their name is the Century Foundation. They also publish their own findings of their recent polling. They published this in USA Today, and the article said that nearly 3 in 10 voters polled said they held off getting medical care over the past year because of costs. 1/3 said they have skipped a meal. 2/3 of respondents said they are buying cheaper groceries or buying less food, while half said they dipped into savings to cover basic expenses. They also found that these circumstances, and this is a direct quote from them, were, quote, felt most acutely by Americans without college degrees, young Americans, people of color, and women. So, gee, tell me who those people voted for? Essentially, almost all of the groups, with the exception of, women were pretty split, but all of those groups are the ones that helped to get Trump back in office. And here's why I'm now convinced that 2026 is going to be the year of the progressives, because the pollster found that all respondents supported the idea of targeting corporations to bring down costs. So not something that you typically hear. And it says that includes 88% of respondents expressing support to ban health insurance companies from denying doctor-recommended care, 86% backing a ban on corporate money in politics, and 84% saying they support prohibiting Wall Street banks and hedge funds from buying up single family homes. All things that progressives have been pushing for forever. And corporate owned Democrats and all Republicans fight against this. Another area where I really think that progressives have an opening is with healthcare, because Republicans have made this a major issue by not re-upping these, subsidies, and they've made it a negative issue for their party. So take a look at this.
In the new AP North poll, 29%, he doesn't even reach 30% on it, approve of the job. I was looking back at all the AP North polls. This ties for his lowest rating ever in either term 1 or term 2. Even 39% of Republicans say they disapprove. But a clear majority of the American public say they want those expiring ACA subsidies extended, compared to just 30% who say let them expire. And even 45% of Republicans, on my little note there, say that they should be extended. Blame if ACA subsidies aren't extended. This is among those who are enrolled in the ACA. Look at this. 63%, the vast clear majority, say Trump or congressional Republicans will get the blame, compared to just 19% of congressional Democrats.
So, and I want to point out those numbers that Harry Enton just shared, those are not outliers. Those are very much in line with everything that we've been seeing. So Axios reported that according to Republican polling, not just, your bipartisan or, what should I say? How should I say it? Like just a standard pollster, right? That tries to be down the line, tries to play it fair and not favor one party or the other. But a Republican specific pollster ran a poll, and half of Republicans and 60% of the overall voters that they surveyed said that they support extending the ACA subsidies. So even their own pollsters are saying this is not good. We want, or Republicans want these healthcare subsidies extended. The Epstein issue is also a huge problem, continues to be a pain in the ass for Trump and the Republicans. Check out this latest Reuters Ipsos poll. Let me bring this up for you guys. So 70% of respondents said they think that the government is hiding something about Epstein's crimes. And then look at this next one. So, they're in trouble. 60% of all respondents said that they think that Donald Trump knew about Epstein's crimes before they became public. Think about this, you guys. 70% and 60% on this one. You don't get 60% and 70% of Americans agreeing on hardly anything in this country. And then when they were asked if they approve of Donald Trump's handling of the Epstein case, it was even worse. So as you can see here, only 23% of all of the respondents said, yeah, I think they're doing a good job. I approve of the job they're doing. So this is one of the major reasons why Trump is losing his base. And CNN's Harry Enton, he laid all of this out as well. So take a look at this poll.
A quote from my favorite Rocky film, Rocky IV. He's not a machine. He's not a machine. He's a man. He's a man. And what are we talking about here? Strongly approve of Donald Trump. Okay, this is 2024 Trump voters. In March, it was 66%. Look at where we are now. It's just 50% of 2024 Trump voters strongly approve of him. Look, Trump voters still like Donald Trump, but they don't love him as much. And that means there's a permission structure to actually go against him. And that is exactly what you saw in Indiana.
Harry Enton, he cracks me up. What's funny is I was watching that quote, or I was watching that clip, and all I could think of when he said they like Donald Trump, it triggered me to think of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. right? When Dottie asks him out, when he gets his little horn for his bike, he's like, "Look, Dottie, I like you. I like you." There's things about me you don't know. I'm a rebel, a loner. Anyway, that poll that CNN shared, again, was not an outlier. So check out the latest polling from NBC and how Americans are moving away from the MAGA movement. So not just that they're moving away from Trump, but Republicans who consider themselves to be MAGA are now moving away from that movement. Take a look.
2% approval rating for Donald Trump. Now, we know his approval rating has existed in a pretty narrow range the entire time, both terms he's been in office. However, that is down 3 points from the start of the year. How about this? The folks who say they don't just approve, they strongly approve. And you can see here, Republicans who call themselves, they say they identify with MAGA, the Make America Great Again movement. 70% of them strongly approve of Trump. Those who say, more traditional Republican, 35% of them strongly approve of Trump. And Kristen, that's a change. From the start of the year here, it was 78% strongly for MAGA, 38% for traditional Republicans. Along these same lines, just look at the composition of the Republican Party. We ask Republicans, do you identify more with MAGA or with just the Republican Party itself? 50-50 right now. And again, start of the year, the balance was more on the MAGA side. So moving a little bit away from that. And then, let's talk politics here. Which party, we ask voters, do you trust more when it comes to those prices? That's Democrats, blue by 6 points. Healthcare costs, that's Democrats, blue by 14 points.
It is brutal. So, I mean, they're like, oh, Trump? Oh, I don't know who that is. I never supported him anyway. I'm not MAGA. MAGA? I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican, but I'm not MAGA. This reminds me of another movie. Have you guys ever seen the movie Can't Buy Me Love? Old movie, had Patrick Dempsey in it before he got hot, before he grew into his nose, essentially. And so MAGA and Trump, they're like Patrick Dempsey in that movie, because if you guys have seen it, you know what I mean. Like the hot cheerleader, she starts going out with him, but only because he paid her. Spoiler alert for anybody who wants to go watch it. And then, all of her friends, all the cool people, they're like, oh, he's such a great guy. And all the girls want to date him. And then when he's exposed as a fraud, they're like, I don't know who that is. I don't know him. I've never had anything to do. He's not cool. I never thought he was cool. Anyway. If you haven't seen that movie, that's your assignment for Christmas holiday or the Christmas break. Anyway, my favorite scene, as you guys will see, is the school dance. Trust me on this one. And when you see this, think of me. Anyway, I want to share a couple of other things really quickly. So Axios shared the results of a religious-based poll. They found that 2/3 of the participants support birthright citizenship in America. So this is backfiring as well on Donald Trump. And that includes 53% of white and evangelical Protestants, which is basically Trump's hardcore base for some unfathomable reason. Also, a recent Emerson poll in the state of Ohio shows that the Democratic candidate is now tied with Republican Vivek Ramaswamy in the governor's race. So I don't know if you guys knew that Ramaswamy was running, but he has way more name recognition than she does. And I mean, look at that. They're essentially tied. I mean, she's 46%, he's 45%, and that's a change. That has changed. And what's interesting is this race, not only has she gained since August, as you see, 7% since August, but this is really coming down to be like a battle of the sexes, because men support Ramaswamy by 20%, whereas women favor the Democrat here, Amy Acton, by 19%. The Ohio Senate race has also shifted a bit towards the Democrat, which is Sherrod Brown, name that you might find familiar because he was a senator. He lost his seat last year. So as you can see here, he's still running behind the Republican, but he has picked up some support, 2% since August as well. Still, it's 46 to 49, so John Husted is still in the lead, but 5% of voters are still undecided. So that could totally swing it. That could make the difference. And then just the shifting dynamic, what we're seeing in national politics and with Donald Trump, that could also make a huge difference. That could peel some of those voters I mentioned earlier, the non-MAGA but yet conservative Republicans, that could peel them away from Husted if people want to see a check and balance on Donald Trump. And then I also wanted to share this next survey of voters. This was specifically voters between the ages of 18 and 42. So look at this. So overall, they have a very negative opinion of both parties. 57% disapprove of the Democrats, 62% disapprove of Republicans. So that's good. More disapprove of Republicans. Here's where Democrats really have an advantage, though, if they nominate the right candidate, because 60% of these people said they disapprove of Donald Trump. And we know what works, right? We know what works now with winning back voters. So take a look at this. As you can see here, this is a graphic. This was shared by G. Elliott Morris. He has a group called Strength in Numbers. He does all these data analytics and puts together charts and reports. So he found that voters who rank the economy and inflation as their top issues, they favor Democrats over Republicans by a 12-point margin. Given the swings that we've seen in special elections this year, this totally tracks, completely spells doom and disaster for the Republicans. So it's looking good for Democrats. We still have to turn out the base. We still have to show up. We still have to, make sure that people are aware of what's going on and make sure that all of our people are on message and that they actually are running with populist messages on healthcare, on, cost of living and so forth, and not going down these rabbit holes that they have in the past on things that don't really matter, Donald Trump's tweet or Donald Trump's this or whatever. It's fine to highlight his failures, but I've mentioned this so many times in the past, but I haven't mentioned it recently, that in marketing, there is a saying that everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Make it about the voters, not about what you find repulsive about Trump, but what they will find repulsive about him. That is what you need to focus on and highlight, Democrats. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.